All right, it's July 11th, and there's the bee yard. Many beekeepers ask the question where I store my honey boxes when they're not on the hives. So I've run honey boxes basically between March and early July. Don't try to do anything in the fall usually here. So they're stored for about 8 months out of the year. So this is where I store them and how I store them, in this room. Built this room on the back of the house. It's about 9 feet by 15 feet that way. And I store them just like this. So this room has got a lot of light from these windows that I kind of made. This is not like real windows, just like Lexan or something like that. A lot of light. The boxes are stood up on their ends, so they get a lot of air and a lot of light through them. Except for a few boxes that I have like this with handles on the side. I can't store them standing up, so I just kind of crisscross them and store them like that. And these usually do okay as well. Most of my frames, I don't keep brood on medium frames anymore, so most of my frames are pretty clean. You know, they're pretty clean wax. You know, even when they get a few years old, you know, they might get like a little brown on them, but most of them are pretty clean. I only have a few that are, you know, that I had brood on in the past. You know, like that one probably had brood on in the past. And really, like, this is what your wax moths and your other little pests are more attracted to. Comb that smells like this, or has had old brood in it, or some comb that maybe looks like this, that's got some pollen in it. It's kind of hard to see. There's a bunch of pollen in this frame. And sometimes I'll pick those out and I'll store them up there just near the window. They get a lot of air, they get a lot of light through them. If I ever see any problem with those, I can put them in a freezer inside. But this is really the reason I do this, so I don't have to use paramoth. I don't have to store anything in a freezer. But again, most of my frames are clean. Like, you know, you saw this one. Just nothing is gonna bother that clean wax just sitting here. It's not gonna get bothered by anything. So this is easy for me. I did have to build this room, but again, I didn't mind doing that. But it's super easy to store the boxes like this, stack them up. About 8 months out of the year, they stay like this. And once it gets winter time, then you really have no problem with pests because it's cold in here and it's getting a lot of light. So, you know, really the only thing I have to keep an eye on is maybe boxes that are stacked up like this. Yeah, I could go back and take these handles off, but you know, it's really not that much trouble. So this is how they're stored. If anybody's got any questions, just let me know. Thank you.